What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Life Coach Zach podcast. Today I have a very special guest with me, Yan Stavisski, aka King Credit on Instagram and TikTok. Short anecdote about King Credit. I saw his page or one of his posts shared and started looking up this guy. I myself have been trying to get better with my credit to earn free miles, earn free stay, increase my credit score, be able to get some big loans for some fat rental properties. And I just had to have him on the show. King Credit, how you doing today?
I've been doing fantastic. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to hop on today. I know that you have an inner circle of clients that you work with on a group and individual basis. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do for your clients?
Yeah, definitely. I've got a program called the Inner Circle, and everything's on Instagram. And the main focuses are credit for leveraging it for business, so establishing, scaling personal and business credit, and leveraging that. Our main focus is real estate and e-commerce. So you mentioned getting loans for real estate, right? Most of my students, I got about 1,400 right now. They're either doing e-com or real estate, and some of them are doing like ATM businesses, small scale funding. They're doing anything that they can basically use credit for, fund the business, and scale that up, or it's either cash flowing, appreciating in the case of real estate. And the second main focus is travel hacking. So you probably found my page where I'm traveling to Dubai, I'm traveling all over the place. I'm 27, I've been to 50 countries, and I've done most of them for about 80 to 90% off of what I usually paid. And I stay in the most luxurious hotels, the Ritz-Carltons, the West Ends, whatever. That's the main other focus. So leverage your credit to make cash, and then travel hacking, getting the free flights, the free hotels, and staying in these luxurious, crazy vacations for pennies on the dollar, free in some cases.
Amazing. Now that's where I want to focus a lot of our conversation today is on travel hacking. But before we get there, you mentioned leveraging credit for cash flow and appreciation and things like this. We're never taught this in school, right? Like no one ever taught me that credit was important or, leverage the bank's assets or cash to buy a business or appreciating asset that cash flows to get richer, right? This is not something we learned. It wasn't until I was 25, 26 that I realized that I can utilize my automatic spending, or whether it's food, not my car payment, but whatever it is, to get more cash back and stuff. Like, what's the one thing that you would tell someone that isn't really in the credit game so they can get started?
Look, I got out of college. I have 2 degrees, one in finance, one in marketing. And to your point that we don't learn this in school, that is 100% correct. And I'm a living proof of that, because I came out trying to get a job. One, I couldn't get a job, so I decided to go become my own entrepreneur, my own boss. And for that, I used credit because I had no money. But I also did not know how to use credit for business. I knew travel hacking at this time, so I knew how to get a bunch of credit cards, use the reward system, go get free flights, free hotels. But I had no idea how to leverage credit for cash flow or to go invest in the business. One thing that most people really mess up on is they go and try to get a couple of credit cards. They get $1,000 or $2,000 limits, and they go and spend this on whatever. Either they're just spending or they're trying to go fund a business. In the case of my students, they want to be entrepreneurs. So they go and get $5,000 or $10,000 limits on their 2 or 3 credit cards, and they go max them out on their personal credit. When you go max it out on your personal credit, this destroys your credit score. Whereas on the business side, that does not report to the personal credit. So you can have maxed out accounts, and that is not going to hurt your personal credit score. So you can go and leverage the personal credit to continue getting funding. Okay. And the other part is they get into this mountain of debt that I personally got into before I understood how this worked. I was 22 years old, starting to be a wannabe entrepreneur, starting all these ventures, using my credit to fund all of them, where I ended up in $82,000 worth of credit card debt, paying insane interest on these accounts, where I was making no money. All these ventures were failing. I was pulling in about $2,000 a month from all my hustles that I was doing. I was doing personal training sessions. I was teaching swimming. I used to be a swimmer. So anything that I could do to pull in some money, I was doing this. But because of my lack of knowledge of credit, I was paying the banks like $3,000 a month in interest just to keep my debt at $82,000. Okay. If I understood that I could go and scale up my personal, leverage that to go and scale up the business side, I would not only not have destroyed my personal credit. I was at a 490 at the lowest. I had collections all over the place. My personal credit was absolutely destroyed. And if I knew that staying away, here's another hack, staying away from 0% interest credit cards in the beginning would have allowed me to go and get them later on while my credit lines have already scaled and I can get decent credit lines that are 0%. So in that case, I could have used those on the business side, use them to fund my business and not pay any interest. So I wouldn't have had this mountain of debt piling up. It wouldn't have destroyed my personal credit score. And that's something that people just don't understand. That you got to stay patient with establishing and scaling your personal credit. Don't use it and max it out and destroy your score where you're just stuck. Okay. Have a proven idea, a proven business if you're going to invest in a business or an investment, and then leverage credit only when you know that thing works, and do it correctly where you're not stuck. Your personal credit is destroyed and you can't scale any further.
Right. Amazing. Yeah, I would say probably 80, maybe like 70% of the people that are listening aren't using their credit for business purposes, and maybe they are a W-2 employee, salary employee, and that's not something they're interested in. But if there was something to take away from that, guys, do not max out your credit cards. It's going to lower your credit score, right? You want to keep your credit utilization under 30%, right, Yan?
Well, that's another lie. That's a lie.
Perfect. I'm glad I brought that up then.
That's a lie. That's a lie that the banks and the creditors came up with, so that 30% is enough for them to make a decent amount of money on the interest and fees they're charging you every single month. Because 30%, if you have accounts at 30% and you go and apply for a credit card, the chances of you getting approved go down significantly more than if your accounts were under 10% utilization. So ideally, by the time that your payment is due, there's two differences. There's a payment due date and there's a closing date. The payment due date is 3 days before the closing date when it actually reports. So you can max out your credit card. That's perfectly fine. That actually helps you scale. And the creditors say, okay, he's being responsible. He's maxing it out. He needs more of a credit line. Only if you go and make that payment before the due date, not the closing date. Most people have no idea what that is. I talk about business and funding and investments and whatever, but the same thing goes for a W-2 employee. It doesn't matter. You're still spending on a credit card. You still need to know these fundamentals. Okay, you can max out the card, but as long as you're paying it down to 10% at least, that's like the ideal number. 10% before the payment due date, not the closing date.
Okay, before the payment due date, not the closing date, because the closing date is when they report it to the 3 bureaus, correct? Got it. Yes. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So the most important thing to understand from this, keep your credit utilization under 10%, 3 days before the closing date, before the statement is due, and don't max out your credit cards. A lot of us, we get in credit card debt. It's easy to get into credit card debt. So if you're in credit card debt right now, reach out to King Credit. Maybe he can help you get your finances under control. Reach out to me. I can help you out with some personal finance, money management, very simple tactics, and we can help you get out of credit card debt. So, King Credit, I really wanted to get you here so you could share some secrets, my man, about travel hacking. All right, myself, I recently got the Gold Amex card, and I got 80,000 points if I signed up before August 31st. If you spend $3,000, you get an extra 20,000, 30,000 points, whatever it was. I spent a lot of money on it because I was in Europe, and I was in Italy and France, and I was having a good time. And I ended up with 150,000 points. I ended up going to Hawaii for free just last week. I ended up booking a flight to a couple other places that I'm really excited to go to, all for free. And I wish I knew this earlier. So tell us some of your travel hacking tips and tricks so I could learn and my audience can learn how to get on the vibe.
So here's some of the basics. The first thing that anybody's going to start with is usually credit card rewards and credit card points. Just like you mentioned, getting a sign-up bonus if you go and spend some money, right? Here's one. Your audience is mostly US, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that? That's correct? Okay, so to start, a lot of people may not have 4,000 or 5,000 to spend in 2 or 3 months like some people do. So here's one credit card that they can start with that you only have to spend about $1 to get, I think it's like 60,000 American Airlines points. So if you fly American Airlines, you want to get a free flight right now listening to this podcast and pay only $1 or so to go and get these, That is the Barclays Aviator Red. That's the credit card. Barclays
Do you have a
Aviator
referral
Red.
code that they can use?
I've already maxed it out, so it doesn't matter. You can, if you have one, fantastic. If not, I've already maxed out mine. I've got so many students, all my stuff is maxed out. Yeah. Okay. So Barclays Aviator Red, all you got to do is get approved. Pretty easy. And by the way, you should not be applying for anything unless you get a 720 credit score or above on all three bureaus, not just Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. But in this case, Barclays will only pull TransUnion. So if your Experian is not that good, they're only going to be checking TransUnion. These are like some little hacks and things you got to know that'll really, really accelerate your one, credit knowledge, two, being able to get approved and not wasting a lot of time. But that's one hack to get everybody started is the Barclays Aviator Red. All you got to do is get approved, make your first purchase, and pay the annual fee, which is $90. So you can buy a water at the gas station. That's it. Then pay the annual fee, which is $90, and you get 60,000 American Airlines points. So that's literally a round trip flight to Europe.
Yeah, easy. It's like 2 round trip flights anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah. So that's like one. That's like right there. With that piece of information, you got a round trip flight for free anywhere in the world. Okay. So two, you got to understand how to use your points, and you got to understand when to apply for credit cards, because what the banks do, points are a currency for the creditors, right? So they give out points, and those points are used to go and pay for flights, hotels, whatever that is. The banks do whatever they can to kind of minimize the value they provide and still have it be perceived as a lot of value when people don't understand how credit works, how rewards work. So one website they can go to, anybody listening, is called uscreditcardguide.com. uscreditcardguide.com. It's a list of all of the major US credit cards and all the bonuses and when you should be applying for them. It'll say like August, the Amex Platinum bonus was 100,000 points, but right now it's 150. So if you find a 100,000 point offer right now, that is the low offer. And they'll have a link for you to go and apply for the higher offer. So you should know that, okay, there's a 50,000 point difference that you can find and that you should find either through that website, or here's another trick, go incognito and go to that link. And a lot of times, because it's location based, it'll pop up with the higher offer. So that's literally 50,000 more Amex points. That's another free flight anywhere else, right?
Amazing.
So, and that's not the beginning. That's like the very basic level of it. There's also how to go and maximize these points, not 1 or 2 or 3 times, like 10 times more. There's, this whole game is very interesting, and you can really take it up to another level.
Amazing. Unreal. King Credit, dude. So what do you like to do as far as travel hacking? How do you utilize your knowledge and your experience to maximize your travel? And pretty surface level. You don't have to get into too much detail, but
I'll give you guys an example. So you asked me about Dubai. I spent about 3 to 4 months of 2021 in the beginning in Dubai. I flew there business class on Emirates. That was about I think it was like a $6,000 flight each way, so about 10 to 12K. I flew business and then first, and I paid, how much did I pay? So instead of about 10 to 12K, I paid about $200. $200. That's properly leveraging points, and then I literally paid a couple of fees. Those points you could get without spending anything. There's a method called manufactured spending. Okay, that's kind of more of an advanced technique and something I started doing when I had no money, which allows you to get points without spending a single dollar. That's how you get over the issue of having to spend money to get the points or the sign-up bonuses, right? The hotels that I was in Dubai were the Westin, the W. I was at the Ritz-Carlton, the St. Regis.
The best of the best.
All the
best of the
hotels,
best.
right? I was paying, Matt, like 60 to 80% off the entire time I was there. My Dubai trip would have been total, if I paid full price for my flight and my hotels, over $50,000.
Easy.
Over
Easy.
$50,000. Easy. That's like.
I mean, the
low end,
Ritz-Carlton.
right?
There's no Ritz-Carlton rooms anywhere in the world for under $500-600 a night.
and I was in the suites every single time. Suites go for 1K
Easy.
plus
Easy.
minimum. Okay, guess how much? I want you to guess. Guess how much I paid for that entire trip.
Well, you already gave me a little bit of context. You said 80%. So I'm going to say you spent less than, I mean, definitely less than like 15,000, right?
Yes.
Less than 10?
Yes.
Oh my, less than 5?
No, that was about how much.
Okay.
5 to 7K for the entire trip. For the
Living
flight,
3
for
months
all
in
the
Dubai.
hotels.
You
Yes.
can't rent a 4-bedroom house in Palm Beach Gardens for $4 or $5 grand.
Yes. And what's crazy is for the flight, points were used, but for not a single hotel stay, points were used. There's an entire world of travel hacking that has nothing to do with credit. Credit makes a big difference, but you can do some really advanced travel hacks that have nothing to do with credit. To get your hotel status, to get the upgraded suites, to go and get massive discounts on hotels, where like if you have, like for what I did, I would have needed about 10 million points probably to go and stay in a suite like that, right? I used not a single point that entire stay. Okay.
Unreal.
Travel hacking game
The
is crazy.
travel hacking game is crazy. And if you want to learn more about travel hacking, hit up KINGCREDIT. He knows what he's talking about. I'm actually going to hire him as soon as we get off this podcast because there's a lot of stuff that I know I can do better. I got a couple credit cards. I got a decent credit limit. In my opinion, I think it's pretty high, right? I don't want to go anywhere near even half of it. And I have a good credit score. And financially, I'm pretty healthy. But I know there are so many more ways that I could be using the system. And the best way to, I guess, live a better life and figure things out is talk to the experts. KINGCREDIT is the expert in travel hacking. He's the expert in credit. So if you or anyone you know is looking to travel hack, go follow KINGCREDIT on Instagram or KINGCREDIT on TikTok, right? KINGCREDIT on Tiktok? That's it. Yeah. Follow him, guys. Yan, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Really looking forward.
And IG, man, IG is the best place. Like if they want to go learn for free, I got hours and hours of free content on IGTV. So like not just on my posts, but if they click IGTV, they got hours and hours of free content. I've done plenty of free lives to get them started on either leveraging credit, credit repair, or even travel hacking.
Okay, good guys. Head over to KINGCREDIT on IG. Plenty of free, useful resources like Google. Anyway, guys, thanks so much, KINGCREDIT, for stopping by. Have a really great day, and we'll connect soon.